What's going on this week in the cycling world and your communities? Hey, let's take a look after this. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. This is As the Wheel Turns, So Do Days of Our Rides series. I will be covering topics of the industry as well as consumer views with my 30 years experience.
If you like these videos, please like and subscribe.
So welcome to As the Wheel Turns, So Do the Days of Our Rides. Yes, second installment. Welcome back if you're watching this. And yes, I'm going to go over a couple topics that I saw in the latest news cycles of the cycling world and a couple tidbits of consumer insights that might be a gold nugget or two. And to make it a little more timely and not just a flash in the pan, a couple other little tidbits of just general knowledge in shopping and also service looking perspectives from somebody that's been in the industry for over 30 years. The guy, that's me, Justin. So again, thank you and welcome. First, we're going to go over the the industry news and history. I'm going to add a little of my own personal insight and history. First topic I saw, the latest one, really wasn't any news cycles per se. It was something I noticed that Trek had its own Trek Fest and bring that back, which is kind of cool. And kind of not so impactful as a lot of people thought as discounts and so forth, but it is a sale, and it does help out a little bit here and there. They did a $20 coupon deal as well, which I don't think you have to purchase anything at a limit. I think it's just like you get $20 of stuff, which is kind of cool. Big businesses, and sometimes the promotions are hits or flops, but the Trek Fest has been around a long time. I've gone to that before, so you can look at an earlier cycle segment on As the Wheel Turns, and you get more insights there. But looking at cruising through sites and so forth, I noticed that Specialized has decided to do their sale, which is pretty common and very typical of when one launches, the other one launches, and they're usually pretty pairing. I mean, these things don't happen overnight. I mean, it's not like, oh, I got an idea, I'm going to go on and sell. That's a guy like me, this all can do that, but big corporations can't. They have to, pitch all the dollars and cents and figure out what they can put on sale and so forth and that kind of thing. So it is a big production. So Specialized, they're having theirs, and I noticed through a couple of the Specialized dealers, and which was really kind of interesting to me is I buy my stuff from Jenson's. Is one of the places I buy my stuff. Jenson's USA in California. It used to be a wholesaler back in the day. Here's the history part. Back in Parker Bikes days in the 90s, they were a wholesaler that we would just sell directly to bike shops. And they've kind of broken out of that and selling direct to the consumer. One thing to take away from them, their prices are pretty good, which is nice. That's why I buy from them. So when you look at like a SRAM PC 951 chain to a bar tape or something like that, sometimes they have something that's a pretty good deal. I actually venture through 3 or 4 different places to see if I can get the best price. And what I do for refurbishing, 9 times out of 10, I can get something that's pretty actually close or a little above wholesale, so I don't have to do the whole wholesale thing. I can get the prices from them. Plus, their minimums are less for free shipping. Since $50, it's easier to hit that than it is $400 from Quality Bike Supply. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell in the back end. But when you're looking at a website like Jenson's, back to the historical part, they do carry several brands. I think Salsa is one and a couple of others. Rocky Mountain, I think, was another one too. But Specialized, I think they had some Specialized products as well. When I saw the sale portion, I was like, oh, that's kind of intriguing. Then I noticed that the Pros Closet had their Specialized bikes on sale, which are the used market, the Pros Closet, which is kind of cool. They've been struggling a little bit because they've had some layoffs in the last few months, a couple different rounds, and a buddy I know, he was laid off there on the first round back in the fall, which, shout out to him. Hope he's doing fine. But anyway, it's one of those things where they're going to have to be aggressive in this new market, 2023. This is the crazy year of uncertainty-ish. It is true. There are some levels of uncertainty because we know the downfall of any spike in the industry, there's kind of a dip and you kind of have to dig back out of it. Well, we got a whole bunch of different weird things going on at the same time, like inflation and supply chain issue, not an issue, is it an issue, or what? Do we have the right stuff or not? All those things are still, and also, it's all applying in the market, and it's just nuts. So we're all just trying to figure out what the new norm's going to be and doing the best we can. So talking about the Pros Closet, they're doing the best they can with the pricings that they have. And granted, there's always been a lot of pushback, like they charge a lot of money for their stuff. And it's like, it could be true to some level, but they put a lot of effort into it. So it's all, refurbished, and they also have a guarantee and so forth, which is also a benefit to the consumer, where you don't get that with a lot of used. It's just like you buy a used bike, that's yours, and if it's a lemon, it's your lemon now. So there is some backing with the Pros Closet and everything. They give that to them. So that's where I'm seeing like the, Specialized rollout. And the second part of the of the industry news is Rocky Mountain is another thing I came across. Rocky Mountain is more known for their mountain bike line, and I was subjected to them back in the early 2000s when I worked at Cyclery, and I was like, what the heck are these? They were beautiful bikes, and they still are. And they're most of them, I think, are built up in Canada, or it's a Canada-based company, and I'm not sure how much is being built there now. But over the years, they have a good following. It's like a small giant, basically. And it's not giant brand, a giant company. Anyway, her value prop. But anyway, they have a good line assortment. And I noticed in the local shop here, Drake Cycles, they had it on sale. They're promoting it as well as other news, SO, whatever, feeds. And it was 20% off, and it looked like all their bikes. So you compare it to the Trek Fest, which is a couple of them and not very much deep. Then you look at Specialized, and they have some that are deeper because it's older stock than they have their sale. But you look at Rocky Mountain, which is very interesting to me because they did 20% cut off the top. Some people's complaints were their discount wasn't enough to cover the actual sales tax. And yeah, when you're talking about like $2,000 to $3,000 bike from Trek, and they're like only offering like $100 off, it's like it doesn't even cover the sales tax. Now I saw that in several posts, which kind of like, you got a point there. So when you look at Rocky Mountain, 20%. I don't think anybody's sales tax is more than 20%. So I think you got that pretty much covered. And they have a great mix of mountain bikes. So if you're a mountain biker and you watch this, and you might not be because you're in the road, or you do both, whatever. This is more for a warm hug for everybody in cycling. It might be something to check out. Reason why I really kind of push the idea of buying new for mountain bikes. And this is why. I know it's a little bit more expensive, and you can find better deals out there on used. But if it's not coming from a shop and being refurbished, and just from an independent party, you do not know where that suspension's been through, or it's been maintained, or any of it. There's a lot more things that go wrong. That's why one of the main reasons I don't do mountain bikes is because there's too much unknowns. Unless I'm ready to gear up and refurbish and overhaul every shock that I come across, you just don't know. So there's a lot of misknowns or unknowns when you buy a used mountain bike. One thing is, keep in mind, there's a service here in Longmont that's all they do is suspension work and Dirt Labs. And I'll put a little thing up. Dirt Labs, they're an awesome shop. All they do is suspension front and rear, and they have a flat rate. Guess what? It's $350. Expensive, yes. And you can ship it to them, and they'll ship it back to you. They had a deal, but it may not be now, like free shipping one way. But anyway, the thing is, that is going to be a cost when you're looking at a used mountain bike. Just throw that $800. You're going to have to pay that. You're going to need that because everybody that buys a mountain bike totally forgets about, that needs to be serviced. So is it serviced? Most likely not. So anyway, new is almost better. And when you also get with new, Rocky Mountain Specialized, whatever, you get sometimes lifetime warranty on frames, sometimes warranties and componentry for a year or two, all those things, and they have you in the system for any recalls and any of that kind of bit. So that does have that has a value weight to it. So keep that in mind. All right, on to consumer insights. All right, well, which seems like that was kind of a consumer insights, but it's more big brands. I'm going to go dive into consumer insights, and yes, this sounds like big news too in the industry. Vale Sports, this is a headliner, closing 19 stores in Colorado. What that means is like some of these subset. Vale Sports owns a lot of stuff. They're big, people. I mean, it's like, I remember I was in Michigan a couple years ago, and they bought Mount Brighton, which is basically a trash dump they made into a ski resort. Anyway, and Vale Sports bought them. So it's like one of those things, it's a huge company, a lot of companies as an umbrella, including Bicycle Village. Here's the history part of Bicycle Village. Bicycle Village used to be owned by a guy and his son in the 80s and the 90s. And they had like 15 or 16 locations up and down the mountain, Colorado Front Range. From, I think almost from Cheyenne, Wyoming down to Colorado Springs. I think they had shops all the way across. They were everywhere. They were big. And around 2000 or 99, they were sold to Gart Sports. You maybe heard of Gart Sports. Yeah. And they kind of pared them down, and now it turns out Vale Sports owns them, and I think there's only now 4 locations left. I still see the whole bunch of Bicycle Village stickers on bikes that I buy. So they still have a pretty good presence. Why is that a big deal? What is that a consumer thing? So when big companies pare down their stores, on like on a smaller level, percentage-wise, compared to everything they own, it's basically they're just reallocating. So when you go to those stores, there'll be discounts because they don't want to move that inventory to another location. But on the flip side, though, they are going to have some sales to kind of push it down before they have to move it. So, it's one of those things that could be some good deals. Mostly up in the mountains, so it's I think in Aspen and Telluride, but you can look up the article. I'll put a link in here to see what locations that you might want to check out. Might be some good sales, and from ski stuff to mountain biking and so forth. That's why I kind of circumference in this conversation. And I want to put a little tidbit there. They own a Bicycle Village too, which is kind of a wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah. So the last bit I want to talk about, and I was talking to a customer today. I was fitting him on a bike, and he was talking about his significant other, and the significant other doesn't ride very well, or is not a strong rider, and they're talking about e-bikes. And I was like, okay, and a light bulb went in my head. I was like, okay, I need to talk about this. And he asked me if I did any use. I'm like, no, I don't. Well, there's none in my market really in that price range. That's above what I'm trying to do. It's not really my niche, but also, what came to the conversation, I've had other customers of mine reach out and say, hey, can you find me an e-bike? And I'm like, well, no, when I look, I'm like, there's really not much out there. Come to really think about it, and I talked to some of the guys at the shop, and e-bikes is still really new, and it's a costly unknown, kind of like suspension on mountain bikes. Going into that a little bit, because you don't know if that battery pack has so many more cycles still left on it and so forth, and if it's under warranty and all that. Well, usually when you sell a bike used, there's no warranties at all with it. So you can buy, let's say you buy a used e-bike. Well, the battery's bad. Well, then you have to buy a new battery. Well, $300, $400, $500 for another battery, which might be the cost of the bike that you purchased, or a motor might be bad or whatever. So I've been really just kind of on the fence, like, hey, when in doubt, just buy it new. The reason being is you got the warranties. It comes from a shop that's certified to work on them. In addition to, they have a list. If they have any issues like recalls or anything like that, they're going to send it to you. And you have a place you can actually have it maintenance and all of that. And there's like drivetrain issues that may wear out and all those kinds of things. And you need to be educated on riding an e-bike is not just put it in the gear and go, because there's a lot of downside of that. So you gotta learn how to ride the e-bike to make sure it's well maintained. And if you are gonna go used, go through like a certifying type dealer in a sense, where they actually sell new ones too, or they're certified or working on them and that kind of thing, because believe me, the wholesale pricing on a Bosch motor is going to be a lot cheaper than when I can buy one offline, which is going to be double the cost. So that's something that you want to double check. So if you are going to look at the used price and use one, then they may have a guarantee for 30 days or 90 days. That's better than nothing, people. So also the Pros Closet, going back to them, they do have a selection of e-bikes that they do, and they are certified. They go through them and make sure they're all checked out. I'm not sure exactly what to do with the battery testing and all that, but at least you know you have a guarantee you can return the bike if it doesn't work or you have any issues. You can take it right to the front door like, hey, it's not working. That's a big thing, because if you buy used from an independent individual out there, you don't know where you're getting. And it's just a scary thing. So the e-bike has a huge rage to it. And you hear this crazy thing in New York, all these battery packs, big fire hazard thing going on. So you want to be well-versed and educated before you dive into it. But they're awesome bikes. They're fun. You get out there and ride. That leads me to the last point. Hey, it's wonderful. It's the weekend. Go out and ride your bike. That's the top stories I have this week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy this. Definitely check out those other news stories. They have a little more weight to them than just reading headlines. Anyway, hey, have a great day. From the garage. See you next time.